All right, so now let's get up to the final section, and that's going to be the eye and the beak. So let's start with the beak. Now the beak is going to be, it's nice and smooth. We want to give a very smooth appearance to it. So that's just going to be lots and lots of these kind of smaller strokes. You can even do little circular ones as well. And then it's going to be lots and lots of blending. Now, an eagle, the beak has this little hook, which we kind of talked about before, but it actually makes a tiny projection. It brings it a little bit forward compared to another part of the beak. So we're going to want to add in a little bit of a highlight in here, just to make it look like it's a little bit forward. And we can add in shadow just to beside it to emphasize that highlight just a little bit. You could use your finger, blend it in just a little bit, and then if you want to really smooth it down, we'll just kind of go over with the white, do lots and lots of these little strokes. All right, perfect. Same with down here. Since we have so much black, adding the white isn't really going to brighten it that much, but it is just going to smooth it out quite a bit. And then if it does lighten more than you want, you can always just go back over with a little bit more. A little bit more black. Awesome. And there's these little feathers right here, so we can indicate that by just doing these little strokes with the black and then going back over with the white. So you want to keep in mind both the direction of the feather and also the length. Changing those will be really important depending on where you are on the body of the bird, and that will help it make it look a lot more realistic and a lot more natural. Shorter feathers tend to be on the face, closer to the beak and the eye, and then the longer feathers tend to occur as you get further down the neck and onto the body. You can add in these little strokes. You can see, like, it's always a process. You can keep on moving back and forth. If you see something else that you forgot or that you want to add, then you can go and do that. All right, that's looking pretty good. So we're going to add in a nostril. That's just going to be this little darker section right here. Nice into the nostril. We're going to have that really dark shadow right at the top, and then we're going to blend it out just a touch as we get further down there. Now here's actually a little sneaky shadow that's kind of shown up. On the side of the cere here, we can see that there's this little shadow right beside the nostril. And adding that in will actually really help to give that kind of round sense right here. We can even follow that with the strokes of our charcoal. We can kind of round it at the top, move into that divot, and then it's going to come back out again as we go further down. Awesome. And we can see that there's a little bit of a right here on the beak too. That shows that there's a little bit of a protrusion there. So that's looking pretty good. Add in some of those smaller details. Finish up that section right there. Give him that little smile, that little eagle smile. All right. Then we'll pull out some of that shadow with the white. We can pull it out and blend it out a little bit. Awesome, that's looking pretty good. We can add in some of these finer feathers with white. You could also do it with the black, because whenever there's going to be that highlight, there's also going to be that shadow. So you could do either or. Awesome, that's looking pretty good. Now, I'm just going to sharpen up my white one here, because we've gotten to a really important part with the eye right now, where we're going to add in the highlight of the eye. And so we want this white to be really sharp and crisp in order to give that sense of a shine. Because the more contrasted the shadow and the highlight, the more shiny it's going to appear. So we've got one right there. You can really, really press down to get that white. We got another one right there. And that will give a really nice sense of a shadow. All right, we've also got this little section right there on the eye that's going to be a little bit lighter. Maybe define that touch more. Then we're going to add in order to give a shadow in the eye, we can add in a little bit of black. And remember, the shadow is going to be underneath that fleshy part of the eye. So there's going to be a shadow all in this area right there, except for that bright white highlight. And so now just to blend in that shadow, we can use a little bit of white. Add in a little bit more black to make it a touch darker. But to blend it in, we're just gonna add just tiny, tiny amounts of white to blend it. And we can leave actually quite a bit of the eye gray because it's a nice mid-tone color anyways. All right, so I think I wanna make this band behind the eye a little bit thicker, this dark band, similar to what we see in the photo. And that's looking pretty good. Now the thing is, you could keep on going for however long you want. You could keep on adding in more and more details. But at this point, to be honest, I kind of like where we're at. We can maybe add in a couple of these little feathers right in there. Adding in these little tiny bits that come off of the main section really add a lot of character to the drawing. Make it look a little bit more three-dimensional too. Awesome. That's looking great. Now we could bring this down a little bit further if we wanted. Since we don't want that much detail, I would even do it pretty loose. Just maybe add in some of the shapes of those feathers, but not too much, because we just want it to be fading out. We want the focus to be the together just a little bit. But that's up to you. You could keep on building it up more further down if you wanted to. See that there would be a little bit of a row of feathers right in here. So if you wanted to, you could keep on going down that way. And if you did do these feathers, I would recommend, since they're darker, use black for those shadows. Again, make it quite dark. And instead of adding white, I would leave those lighter areas as that paper coming through. The outlines of those feathers leave as that paper coming through. Something along those lines. Probably brighten this up just a touch if we wanted to. But looks lovely. Nice. All right. Well, as I was saying, you could keep on going if you want to. You could keep on, if you wanted to, you could just keep on sharpening your charcoal and adding in more and more detail, adding in these finer lines, defining those feathers even a little bit more. But I do like where we've landed. It feels like it really did end up capturing the essence of that bald eagle there. Nice. All right. Now, even when I'm done, I can see that, well, maybe I would have wanted to have the eye a little bit bigger. It feels like it's a little bit of a smaller eye on this compared to the eagle that we have. Now, if I wanted to, I could just erase it and redo the eye. That's a valid option. I also think that it's nice to, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. You can change things up a little bit. Each animal is going to look slightly different. So it doesn't have to look exactly like your reference photo, unless you were doing something like a pet or something like that, where you'd want it to be quite accurate. But for this, I'm okay with that. I could redo it if I want to, but I'm happy with how this turned out. It does look quite eagle-like, and yeah, we love that. So give this a try, and I hope you enjoy it.